Hi friends, yo all are welcome to yet another video from your favorite sewing tutorial here on YouTube, designed by Tola. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you on how I made this beautiful simple bubu gown with an asymmetry neckline and a cold shoulder. Very simple and very easy. Please, if you like what you're seeing, do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do so, and also like this video, and do not forget to share on all your platforms so that this video can get to a wider audience. Thank you.
This is a prep material and it's 1 yard, and this is an African print fabric, and this is 2 yards, and these are my cutting and chalking instruments that I'm going to be using to make this design. So the first step is you're going to be folding your African print fabric into 4 folds like this, and here is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the first 2 will be for the front line, for the front panel, and then the other 2 here will be for the back panel. So now we're going to be putting in all our measurements. So I'm going to be telling you a very important thing here. I'll advise that while making this design, do not cut out the necklines first. Why? This is because of the way the neckline is designed. It's best for us to cut the neckline later. So for that, I'll advise you to cut the neckline later. Don't cut the neckline first. So what I'm going to be doing first, the first thing you do is to measure. Here is the here serves as a shoulder line, or you can say your shoulder base, which we're going to be taking all our measurements from. So from this shoulder line now, you're going to come down to your bust line. For me, mine is 11 inches. I'm going to mark 11 inches there, and then from there I'm going to come down to my waistline, which is 16 inches, and then down to my hip line, which is 24 inches. Now for the length of this gown, so it depends on what you want and how long or short you want it to be. So I want mine to be on my knee line. So from my shoulder down to my knee line is 40 inches. So here is 40 inches here, and then I added extra 4 inches, which is I'm going to be aiming this by 3 inches, and then I'm going to be using the other allowance to join at the shoulders. So that is why I added 4 inches extra to the total length of this gown. All right, so that's being done. The next thing you're going to do now is I'm just going to make out these lines I've drawn into straight lines so that you can see what I'm trying to say. So here is my bust line, here my waistline, and here my hip line. So now I'm going to be making, so I made this in a box form, in a block. Yeah, so I made a block design, which means that you're going to be using your hip measurement all through for the wideness of this bubu gown. So it's either you make it this way, or you can also, it depends on what you want. If you want it a little bit fitted at the waistline, you want to cut out the waistline, then I'll show you how to do that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to measure your hip circumference. For me, mine is 40 divided by 4, so that gives me 10. So you're going to mark your hip measurement divided by 4. You're going to mark it here. Now I'm going to be adding extra allowance for freeness, because you know this gown is free, it's not fitted. So to make allowance for that, I'm going to be adding 3.5 inches extra for the freeness allowance, and then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So now I'm going to measure what I have here. And what I have here in total is 15 inches. So you go right on to measure the 15 inches on your waistline and measure the 15 inches on your bust line. And then you're going to measure this 15 inches as well on the hem line. So I'm going to connect all these points with my straight rule like this. So I'm going to be cutting this out. So here, to avoid this pointy effect, just give it a little curve, just like this, and then you're going to cut out. So the next action to take is to cut the neckline. We're going to be cutting the asymmetric neckline right now. So to do that, the first thing you're going to do is to measure the neckline. So for this neckline, I'm going to be using, you can use either 3 inches or 4 inches. All right, so let's just use 3.5. all right, or let's use 4. We can go with 4 as well. So I'm going to mark 4 inches here. So once you mark the 4 inches, make sure to notch, just give it a little notch at that point. Then I'm going to be coming down by 3 inches as well. So here 4 inches and here 3 inches. So come down by 3 inches. So, and this also depends on how deep you want the neckline to be. You can use 3, you can use 3.5, you can use 4, depending on what you want. So all right, let's use 3 inches like that. Now connect the two Now connect this together to make for your neckline. After you've made the neckline, now the next thing you're going to do, you're going to be opening this up, because this is an asymmetrical neckline, which means that the other side is going to be wider and it's going to fall down to your arm. So to achieve that, we're going to open this up like this, and I'm going to take out the back panel so that I'm going to be left with just the front panel. All right, now after opening it up, here is the neckline. All right, so here where we have the notch, I'm going to make this now into a straight line. Okay, and then I'm going to do that to the hem of this fabric. All right, so after I've achieved that, because here is going to be this line that you've just drawn is where the shoulder is going to sit on. Now that black crepe, all right, that's going to make for the shoulder, that is where it's going to sit on. From these other points I have here, let me make this into a round neckline so that you can understand what I'm trying to explain. Now after making out your neckline, this is the initial neckline. All right, now to make for that cold shoulder effect, because you know the cold shoulder effect will make the other side of the sleeve to fall to your arm. So to achieve that, you're going to make sure that this other side of the neckline is wider compared to this side. All right, so the side which is going to fall on your arm is going to be wider compared to this other side. Now we're going to expand this neckline. All right, so I'm going to be expanding this neckline by 4.5 inches. That is from this notched area. All right, so just mark 4.5 inches like this. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be connecting. You have to find a way to connect this point right then to this point. You can use your hand as well. If your ruler cannot get that effect, then you can just use your hand to trace this out like this. Okay, so you can see that I have traced that out. If you want yours wider, you can as well increase this side. And also if you want this effect, if you want this cold shoulder to come down more, you can bring it down a little more. I'll prefer to bring it down a little more. So to do that, I'm going to come down from the shoulder line here to like 6 inches like this. Mark the 6 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to connect from this point down to this 6 inches mark, and then I'm going to be connecting it down to this neckline. So now this is our main neckline now. So this is what we're going to be cutting out. All right, so I'm going to cut that out now. So you can see this is what we have. So when you're done making this shoulder here, this side here is going to fall to your arm like this. So to achieve this, now we're going to be doing the same thing to the back panel. All right, so lay your back panel and then place the front panel on it this way, and then you're going to be cutting now the exact same. So this is both the front and the back. Now we're done with cutting of the neckline. All right, now we're going to be cutting out the shoulder slope. So join both at the shoulder like this. So place this back on your table and come down by 1 inch. So from the shoulder line here, just come down by 1 inch. So we're going to connect this 1 inch. We're going to connect it into the neckline that we have. And I'm just going to cut this out. So to know the amount of black material that is going to substitute for the neckline here, we are going to place back this piece that we cut out, and then we're going to measure it. So, and this gives us 6 inches. Then after you're cutting that, then you're going to measure from this point here down to the hemline. So for me, I have 44 here, so which means that I'm going to multiply that by 2. That gives me 44 multiplied by 2, that's 88. So that means I'm going to be cutting out my black material. The length is going to be 88, so I can just round it up to 90 inches so that I can have like an extra 2 inches allowance. So that's the black material I'm going to use to you know, for the front, the black material that goes from the shoulder down to the hem, both for the front and the back of this design. So that is 88 inches, and I'm going to be using the wideness for this black material. So here it is. So for the wideness, I made it 2.5 inches, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch with half of an inch. So after I'm done stitching, I'm going to be turning it out so that I can then place it on the front panel like this, and then all through to the back panel as well. So that is for the one in front. Now for the neckline, for the crepe material that is used for the neckline, I'm going to be cutting that as a facing. So this is the black crepe material. Now I'm going to be placing the front panel on it like this, and then I'm going to be cutting this out. So I'm going to trace the neckline like this, starting from the shoulder. Then I'm going to trace out the neckline. So after tracing the neckline, now it depends on how wide you want this facing to be. All right, so for me, I'm just going to make it 3 inches, so that at the end of the day the facing will be 2 inches. So I'm going to be marking 3 inches all through. I'm going to be cutting this out, and I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces of this. So one will serve as the facing for the front, and the second will serve as the facing for the back. I'm going to be cutting another piece of this. Now we are done with the cutting of this design. The next is to stitch up this design, which is very easy. Now we are going to be placing the facing that we cut out initially. So we're going to be placing the facing on both the front and the back panel like this, and then I'm going to stitch the facing with half of an inch all the way around on the neckline. So after stitching, I'm going to make sure to notch, and then after notching, I'm going to turn. So I'm going to be stitching this on the wrong side, and then after I'm done, I'm going to turn it to the right side, and then I'm going to be folding half of an inch just like this, and then I'm going to stitch along as well. So I'm going to fold half of an inch all through like that, and I'm going to stitch it down, and I'm going to repeat this process both for the back panel as well. So this is the facing for the back panel, which I'm going to be placing on the back panel too. So here it is. So after you've stitched it with half of an inch, then remember to notch. As I said, you have to notch so that this neckline will be relaxed, so that the neckline can, you know, relax properly. So after notching, then I'm going to turn it like this on the right side. So I'm going to turn it out like this. So out of stitch right here, out of stitch, and then I'll fold in half of an inch all through like this. So all through, and I'm going to do that for the back panel as well. So after turning both necklines with the facing, then you're going to join both at the shoulders by half of an inch, and the same thing applies to the other shoulder here as well. We're going to join together with half of an inch. Now after joining at the shoulder, so we're going to, from the hem here, we're going to be placing, these are 2 inches rope. So I told you earlier that I'm going to be turning this inside out, and this is what I have. So now I'm left with 2 inches for the rope. So for this crepe material, now I'm going to be placing it on this line like this, and I'm going to be stitching down on both sides, all right, like that, all through. Then when I get to the neckline here, remember that the excess we cut out here was 6 inches. Remember, we measured it and it was 6 inches. So when we get here, we're going to measure 6 inches, all right, and this is 6 inches. So we're going to, when we get to this point, we're going to fold it this way, all right, and then we're going to repeat the same thing that we've done for this front panel. We're going to repeat the same thing at the back as well. So after you are done with this, the next thing is just to stitch down at the sides. All right, we're almost done with this. You stitch down at the side with 1 inch, but before you stitch down at the side, remember that we have the black crepe also at the sleeve like this. So the same thing we did for this side, which is the same amount we have for this crepe, that is the same thing we're going to apply here on the sleeve, which is we're going to be applying 2 inches on the sleeve, on both sleeves, and then after applying 2 inches on both sleeves, Then you're just going to stitch down at the sides by 1 inch, and then you hem this gown, and that is the end of this particular design. You're done making this design. That is how simple and how easy it is. So let me do that, and then I'll come right to show you the result. So very important, I really want to pass a very important message across. When you're about to cut the necklines, all right, when you want to cut the asymmetric neckline on the back panel, make sure that you place the front panel, the wrong side of the front panel on the wrong side of the back panel like this before you cut out the asymmetric neckline, because this is an asymmetric neckline, so it has a unique way of cutting. All right, so make sure you place the wrong side of the front panel on the wrong side of the back panel, then before you trace out and cut the asymmetric neckline. All right, thank you. So guys, we have come to the end of this tutorial, and this is what we have. You can see how beautiful and how lovely this turned out to be. All right, so let me know what you feel about this tutorial in the comments section, and also if you find this tutorial helpful and you really love this this design, give this video a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do so. And also please do not forget to share this video, share on all your platforms, so that this video can get to a wider audience. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Till I see you in my next one, have a great day and bye.